education. I am your host, Brooklyn the God, or Dharma, or whatever you want to call me. We have been covering the Cryptoverse educational guide on our Discord, all of this content down here. Today we're going to be covering what are altcoins, right? Before I start, do remember, if you haven't already, to subscribe to this channel. Do leave a like on the video if you found it useful, and if you didn't find it useful, leave a comment and let us know why, so that we can improve. I suppose with that said, let's launch right into what is an altcoin. I mean, I suppose from the get-go, alternative coin, right? I suppose you could treat it as an alternatives to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, as it says here, considered the original cryptocurrency, with Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper initially. That was the first sort of decentralized cryptography inclusive sort of currency, right? And every other currency that follows technically could be labeled an alternative to Bitcoin, because it was the first. So that's where the term comes from, right? So alternative coins popularly are known as altcoins. That's kind of like the colloquial term for alternatives to Bitcoin. Large group of cryptocurrencies, just a generic umbrella term, right? Anything that isn't Bitcoin, but is a cryptocurrency, could be labeled an altcoin. Even Ethereum, right? Massive cryptocurrency. Almost, you could make a case that it's even bigger than Bitcoin. You could make a case for it. I don't know if I will, but you could. That's basically an altcoin as well. Many altcoins are based on the framework that was provided by, the model of Bitcoin. What this basically means is that they have the characteristics of Bitcoins, with very minor sort of changes. So it's kind of like the framework upon which, the framework that is Bitcoin is what is used as a template upon which things are improved or added, or specific utility is added in. And that big family of everything that is in Bitcoin, with mild differences, that's kind of like the altcoin family. The basic characteristics of Bitcoin, the major ones that kind of carry over into altcoins as well, are, obviously peer-to-peer. We've looked at the white paper, and we've looked at what peer-to-peer actually means. So go back to that What is Bitcoin episode, and take a look at that. And the ability to be mined, the proof of work model upon which Bitcoin was built. Obviously, Ethereum is a little bit different. They use they're going to move to they're doing this layer 2 sort of merge, but that's kind of like extra curricular research for you. Take a look around the merge, take a look at the news, try to do some research of your own into the differences between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and that'll kind of help you to wrap your head around what an altcoin basically is. But like I said, yeah, basically the peer-to-peer nature and the ability to be mined are generally core components of a majority of these alternative coins and currencies. Literally thousands. At this point, probably even more altcoins in the market. Could be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, but it's essential that people know what these currencies stand for, and the framework upon which they function, before people invest any money, or even any time into learning about, into involving themselves in these altcoins. Some alternate currencies are made to solve particular problems, like I said. Goes from Bitcoin as a framework, and then adds in utility, something specific. It fulfills a purpose, and therefore it's slightly different, right? Or for a particular use, fulfills a niche, solves a problem, or is used for something specific. Certain coins are used exclusively for purchasing domains and hostings. There are coins which are meant only for the purchase of adult content, etc. Okay. Some platforms like Ethereum are very revolutionary, and can possibly change the way that the internet as we know it now functions. That's, like I said, Ethereum is a major one. This is why I said the case could potentially be made that it's even bigger than Bitcoin in terms of the scope of this altcoin, right? But a majority are somewhat purposeless, you could say, and you could make the case that most of them are destined for failure. or they fulfill their purpose if it's a short-term purpose and then kind of fade off into obscurity. Ideally, altcoins should exist to solve a particular problem, right? So the framework of cryptocurrency, you kind of flip that or change it around to solve something specific that you need to get done. So instead of using a different medium, boom, you create a cryptocurrency to solve that problem, right? So it's not just to hold value, it's not just to be traded, like it says here, not just to amass money, and go the route of let's see how it goes, like a lot of the other coins in the space are doing. But that aside, there have been many altcoins which have been doing exceptionally well in the markets. Ether, like I said, Ethereum. Ether is the currency. Like we do say one Ethereum, but it's not. It's not one Ethereum. Ethereum is kind of like the umbrella term for. Ethereum is the blockchain itself, I think, and Ether is what you call the cryptocurrency. Like the token is called one Ether. Ripple, that's one. XRP, right? Polkadot, Matic. These are all altcoins. These are all altcoins, and these are a handful of these are kind of like the elite altcoins, right? Now, before you invest in altcoins, there's a couple of things you should keep in mind, right? Always think about the purpose. Why was this built? Obviously, like we've covered that now. Think about the why, right? There's no sure indicator that's going to tell you whether or not this coin is going to be successful, make it big, or even just as a minimum, as a bare minimum, just not flop. But if you do your research, try to figure out if it fulfills the purpose that it should. See if it even sets out to resolve a problem in the first place. Does it have a purpose in the first place? Do that research. What is the motive for its existence? Going by the massive number of alternate currencies that exist, simply as Bitcoin clones or clones to other more popular altcoins, there's a good chance that new non-unique, like ubiquitous altcoins will most likely stagnate. Your coin must have a purpose, a clear purpose, and it should be, and I would, as an addition, say, if it hasn't been done before, or at the very least, if it does it a bit better than what was done before, then yeah, go for it. In the simplest of terms, right, as it says here, there must be a particular problem that the coin wants to solve. The addition to that for me would literally just be, if the problem has been solved in the past, does this one solve it better? Now, all of that is all well and good, right? But a purpose alone is not really enough. You got to have a practical sort of use case, real world. It doesn't even have to be real world, but just utility to this coin. There's a problem that your coin is solving, right? And the altcoin that you want to invest in should have a solution to the problem it wants to solve. So it sets out the problem it wants to solve in the purpose, and then it has utility. It can actually solve the problem. That's question 2. Does this thing have a point, and is it able to fulfill the point that it's trying to do? The solution needs to be practical too. It's easy to say you want to replace the internet, but it's impossible to say how you're exactly going to do it. You can't walk someone through it. As soon as someone asks you to show you a roadmap, you're just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, that's what happens. So figure out the purpose, figure out the use case, do some research into alternative altcoins, right, that exist already, that are kind of in the same vein, and use that as a gauge, to see if this thing really has the gas to keep itself going. The team behind the coin, that's another really, really important point. A coin, a project, or whatever, you need to know who it is that is behind this coin, who powers this coin, right? Before making an investment into anything. Is it being powered by someone who is experienced, or a group of people who are experienced? Or is it a group of dreamy-eyed entrepreneurs who lack hands-on experience with anything they are stepping into? Do your research, figure out the team, get a gauge for them as well. Form your own opinions on it, even if it's just entrepreneurs without a lot of experience. Do they have a guy on board? Do they have a consultant or something? Have they mitigated the risk that comes from a lack of experience? That can happen. Even if it's like a supremely experienced team, are they experienced in creating shitcoins and rug pulling and, cheating people? Because that's bad experience, right? So do your own research. It's not as simple as how long have these people been in the space. Go a bit further than that, right? Go a bit further than that. Figure out who is behind this thing and figure out if they're bought into it. Figure out if they believe in it, right? So what's the purpose? What's the use case? Who is it? Because if you like that, it all goes hand in hand, right? The purpose will make sense or not make sense. The stated purpose could be disingenuous. The only way you'd figure that out is if you get to know the team behind the coin, right? It's always advisable to go for a coin which is backed by well-established names, right? Rather than going for something which is completely new. So bear that in mind. But regardless, do as much research as you can, right? Visit the website, look at the team, do some research around it, go to their socials, look at what they've done before, look at the sentiment that's on there, And finally, obviously, with anything, risk. Manage your risk. Anyone that is trading or investing in cryptocurrencies must know and must tell themselves and then tell themselves again and then remind themselves and then write it on their forehead and stare at themselves in the mirror for like 7 hours a day and then do that like every single day for a week. Risk management. They must remember that the markets are subject to risk. Extremely important, right? So Bitcoins, Ether, and the like have shown a proven track record of sustainable growth, but every single altcoin in the world is not Bitcoin. Every single altcoin in the world is not Ether, right? There's a reason that the elite altcoins, the ones that have withstood the test of time, have done so, right? And it's because they hit all of these. The purpose is clear, the problem that they solve, the problem that they want to solve. The practical use case is brilliant and clear, and the team behind the coin is also brilliant and bought in, and the risk, therefore, is minimal. Apply that same litmus across the board, and that should be a pretty good way to get into the world of altcoins. So yeah, the same cannot be said about newer currencies and altcoins. You can't view success in one thing and say, hey, this worked out, thereby this will work out. That's not how it works. The way you do that is you look at why this thing worked out, why Ethereum or Bitcoin worked out. You break it down completely. You look at each individual sort of aspect of that success, and then you see if it can or cannot be translated. It's not a simple case of this worked, therefore it will work again. Like, that's not how it works. Now let's take a quick look at why people invest in altcoins at all. Altcoins are largely comprised of new currencies which are introduced into the market, whose intended purpose is to piggyback on the success of Bitcoin, right? While some altcoins have been in the market for a great number of years now, pretty much year on year, we see an increase in the number of cryptocurrencies that are actually being added into the markets. And the reason that we see an increase in the number of these altcoins is because people believe that a newly introduced cryptocurrency brings an effective solution to an existing cause or a problem, right? If a person knows the market sentiments, that enough people would be willing to invest in the currency, then will also be more likely to invest, right? So they take a look at effectively what are they doing? They're doing their research, right? They take a look at the solution and the use case, and they believe that it's going to be a new effective solution to a problem. And they look at the market sentiment, figure out whether or not enough people would be willing to invest in the currency at all to get it off the ground. And if that checks out, then yeah, they invest too. Now, a lot of people have seen the growth of Bitcoin from zero to that all-time high of $60,000. And they've kind of extrapolated beyond, they've tried to kind of translate the success of Bitcoin to all cryptocurrencies. If given the right backing and faith, will one day boom the way that Bitcoin has boomed. No, faith doesn't play into it. Backing plays into it very minimally. What does play into it is the purpose, the practical use case, and the team behind the coin. And as a result of those three, the risk, right? That's what matters. You can apply this to Bitcoin, and you will see that it hits all of these things. Ether, same thing. Although some altcoins have a more specialized niche than others, most of them seek to basically just gain an advantage over Bitcoin by trading off certain technological aspects. Looking below the top 10 coins, you are likely to find more dApp platforms and payment currencies, as well as utility and asset-backed tokens. So what this point basically means is that the specificity increases now. Most kind of build off of Bitcoin. They take that framework and they get more and more specific with the problem, which is a good thing, right? Practical use case. That's a good thing. If it is, as long as it's not ubiquitous, if it's unique and it's not been done before, then boom, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Do have a look for yourself on coinmarketcap.com. Click through the top 50 altcoins. Take a look at their websites, white papers, value propositions, and their social medias. Like I said, do all of the research and get a clearer idea of what it is that they are attempting to bring to the table. Now, with that, I'll conclude and let you know that, in conclusion, altcoins are only going to grow as years pass, but not all of them will boom. Many will come, many will go, like many have, and, have gone without seeing an iota of success. So be very careful. Use these three things and the risk. Use these three things to measure your risk before you invest or get involved in an altcoin. And do all the research. Go on CoinMarketCap, click through the first 50, and then look at the first 10, and then go through the first 50. And you will come away a much more educated, much more informed investor with wider context and a lot more confidence in making the moves that you make. That brings us to the close of What Are Altcoins? Another great episode of Cobra Education. Once again, do remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Check us out on Twitter. We are at at Crypto Cobras, right? Check us out on Medium. There will be an article posted about this. All the resources will be in the description below. And yeah, this has been Dharma. Dharma out. Cobra Lightspeed. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.